close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Karl Smith here from UK Hypnosis Academy, and great to have you back on our 7:30s. So I hope you're well, hope you're fine, folks. Just don't forget, give us a shout out from where in the world. Tonight, while you're just doing your shout outs, just introduced, we've got Jason with us tonight from Distinct Vision, and he's going to be talking about networking. I'm going to let him talk about this in a moment. I'm going to get a bit of history from him and how I know him and what he does and why he's not got a website. Anyway, we've got a successful business, and we're going to talk about that. So good evening, Jason.
Hello, mate. I've only got the website for my porn name.
Right, there you go. So, guys, here we go. What we do is I'll do the usual thing. Let's go in. Who's first up tonight? Who won tonight? Oh, Simon won tonight. So, yes, and it would be wrong of me not to just bring this up as well. So, to all of our German friends out there, good nut. Anyway, so there we go. For those that haven't got an igloo, what I'm talking about, we have got the Euro soccer finals on in England in Europe at the moment, and we've just beaten our oldest, the Germans, and we've beaten them tonight. Great news. So 2-0. So Shane, hope you're well, hope you're fine, my friend. Sorry, Stevie, great to speak to you today. Swift, hi buddy, how are you? Just going through the list. Subliminals for you, hope you're well, hope you're fine. Who else we got here? Wendy, hope you're well, hope you're fine. Hope you're geared up for Monday. You better be ready for Monday because we're go on the diploma. Jackie Barber, big thumbs up for you. Max, hope you're well, hope you're fine over in sunny California. Colette, hope you're well. James, hope you're well. Maxine, hope you're well. Mario, hope you're well, hope you're fine. Great to see you here tonight. Anita, hope you're well, hope you're fine. Sheila, hope you're well. I think everyone. Stephen, hope you're well. David, hope you're well. Carol, hope you're well. Good. So it's all the thank yous and all those lots that are going out now. Sheila, yeah, good. There we go. Everyone's ready to go. Look at them all on tonight. Jackie Brennan, hope you're well, hope you're fine. So, yeah, James, I don't know if I said hello in Bulgaria, but I'll say it again anyway. So, yeah, I've known you for about 3 years. 3 years tonight. And I've known you for about three years, I think. And we met at BNI, which is Business Network International. Am I got that right, Jason?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So we met there, and I soon realised that BNI wasn't for me. But however, it doesn't mean it's not right for everybody. You have to suit it. But I'm sure Jason will come on to that in a moment. It didn't quite suit with what my model was and where I was. To be brutally honest, I couldn't make all the meetings because I was spending most of my time out of the country. Aditya, hope you're well, hope you're fine. Emma, I hope you're well, hope you're fine. And I hope you're all ready for Monday as well, young lady. Janet, hope you're well, hope you're fine. And good. So, right. So, yeah, Vic, good evening. Jason, do you want to tell us a bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do, my friend?
Well, this is cool. Thanks for having me on, Karl. I've just found all the comments, so I'm going to say shout out to the people that. Hi, Simon. How are you? Thank you for saying hi. And there's a few other people that I know on the chat too. You see, so I know some people too, Karl. It's okay. It's not just you.
Oh yeah, of course you know Simon. Yes.
Yeah. As Karl mentioned, we met through BNI, and it was I can't remember how long you remember for the group for. Was it sort of like
about a year really?
Yeah, and Karl joined not long after. Say I had joined, but I'm still a member of that group, which is a group in Ipswich. I'm based just outside Manningtree, which is on the Essex-Suffolk border. I've got a couple of businesses that I run. My day-to-day business is an advertising business. I help people with their strategy in terms of advertising, and produce assets for them to help doing that. Most of that is offline advertising. I've done a lot of stuff online, but I don't have a business where I do anything about online advertising, really. I have a second business, which is a photography business. That's mainly manned by my wife. That's a photography business that is aimed at weddings. And so you can imagine that's been quite difficult over the pandemic, as all weddings have been cancelled and that kind of thing. But alas, most of our work for that does come in via a website that we've created for that. And, you know, again, so I know my stuff when it comes to online kind of stuff, because we are at the top of Google for everything to do with weddings in our area, in terms of that niche. And, you know, pleased to say in the last sort of like 4 months since we relaunched the new website, we've had over £10,000 in bookings, and that's coming in from just SEO. So online stuff I know about, offline stuff I know an awful lot more about. But we, like Karl, you know, I have spent tens of thousands of pounds on websites, working with developers and other people all around the world in terms of websites, and discovered that there's a lot to know, and the more you know, the less you know. And likewise, when it comes to doing the stuff that I do, my day-to-day really is helping make the world a better place for people, for entrepreneurs, and helping them to realize their dreams for their business. And that's pretty much what I do every day.
Oh, nice one, guys. Just let me know if that sounds a little bit better for those people that have just said my volume is a bit low. We came on air and it seemed to be all right. It just seems when I go live, everything seems to go tits up. So it doesn't matter how much you check and how much you do, it always goes tits up when you need it the least. So hopefully that should have just changed that out anyway. Just let me know. Good evening, Donna. Yeah, David. So do you want to take us through your experiences in networking, about what networking is and what your experiences are?
Okay, well, look, let's get to that second, because networking for me came later in the day for my business. So I want to wind the clock back. You don't even know this, Karl. So this is, you know, you've known me for a long time. We've spoken a lot, but you don't know this. So when I first started out, and I got made redundant from BT as a contractor, and I was like, oh, I'm going to start my own business in marketing and advertising, and my plan really was to make great quality leaflets. It was about unionizing, uniting great graphics with great print, and without having to talk to lots of different people, because it was always a graphic designer knew his mate Dave down the Essex road who did a bit of printing, or you go to a printer and they've always, oh yes, we do know somebody done graphics, but it's this, and there was always a bit of a shonky relationship between the two. So my vision for my business was to just make great quality leaflets that encompassed both design and print. And I set up a website. I set up my WordPress website, and my vision really was that I wouldn't need to speak to anybody. They have the website there. It would take the orders for me, take the brief for me, do the whole shebang, and I'd wake up when I wanted to, do the orders, fulfill them, send them out, and ask for a review, and just build my online presence that way. And that was my vision. I didn't have anything. I didn't want to be in front of people, and that was just encompassed who I was at the time. I didn't want to interact with the world. I just wanted to be behind a closed door, having money pouring in because I had a website. And how many people start their business, Karl, thinking that because you've built a website or you've had some flyers printed, that that's going to happen?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. When I first passed out of my first hypnosis course years ago, I knew somebody that opened up a shop. I'm not going to say where because that'll refine them down. And I know if somebody's watching, I know who it is. They got a shop and they put a lovely little sign up in the window, and that was all they did. And went, well, I'm just waiting for the customers to come by, and they were like, yeah, they'll come. And he said, well, if you build it, they will come. And I said, not if you've only got one brick down, son. That having the shop windows only just that. You need the website. You need to maybe do some leaflet drops. You need to go network. You need to get your ass out there and start telling people where you are. Just having a shop does not cut the mustard.
Exactly. And and really what you're saying is that everything that we do has to be part of a strategy, and really my strategy was flawed, but nevertheless I did stuff, and then I started networking online, and through a forum, and meeting business people online through this forum was fantastic for me. Unfortunately, that forum did die a death, but it was fantastic. It was the first foray into me starting to network with people, building relationships with people where they sort of started to trust me. And we'd get people come in and they'd sort of say, "Oh, I need some leaflets done," and they'd be like, "Oh, you need to speak to Jason. You need to speak to Jason," and that was a great feeling for me because I'd never really met these people before. Now, then what happened was I was diagnosed with kidney failure. And it was, it took then a year between that time and me having to go on to kidney dialysis. Now, if you know much about that, it means I was 15 hours a week. I was hooked up onto a machine. It takes a lot of your mental power. It takes, it's not a great place to be. And, and unfortunately, I was like, well, I've got this business, I'm going to keep running it. But I was like, all I could really do during this time was just keep the business afloat. I didn't have any spare mental resource to be able to sort of say, how can I grow the business and whatever like that? Because I was struggling to stay afloat. I was struggling to pay my bills, but that was the most important thing. And at the same point, I was getting married. We wanted to have children and all of that kind of stuff. It was like, gosh, this was a really bad time to be, in your late 20s, getting married, starting a new business, wanting to start a family and all that kind of stuff. But that's life. That was the cards that I was dealt. And I spent 3.5 years on dialysis, feeling sorry for myself. And then in the last 6 months, I pulled my finger out and I lost the weight that I needed to lose. And I had a transplant. My mum kindly donated her transplant to me, her kidney to me in a transplant. So I left hospital, and that was 4 years ago in April. So and now I am living donor stable, is what they class me as. So I left hospital in April 4 years ago, and I was full of beans because all of a sudden my brain wasn't clogged with the poisons that my kidneys weren't clearing out properly. And my wife will tell you that, I was like, right, your business needs this, your business needs that, blah, blah, blah. And I need to do this and I need to do that. And all of a sudden everything was a million miles an hour because I had it was as if like somebody had just doubled the capacity of my brain and my body, and everything had all just fallen into place, if not tripled the capacity. It was completely life-changing. And so in the end, I was like, no, do you know what? Now is the time that I'm going to grow my business. So I wanted to rebrand it. I didn't want to limit myself to just leaflets because I've been doing so much more than leaflets for my clients for a long time. But I hadn't reflected the company branding to do that. So I was like, right, rebrand, regroup. Let's relook at how the business is formed, what's profitable, what's not profitable. And I had all of this headspace to be able to do it. And I was like, right, first thing I want to change, I want to be out there in the world. And so I want to network. And I knew that networking had worked for me in terms of the online stuff that I'd done in that forum beforehand. But I was like, well, I want to get in front of some people. And so then that brings me into networking. And so for those of you that don't know, I've been reading the comments that quite a lot of you have had some experience with 4N. Some of you have had some experience with BNI. But for those of you that haven't, face-to-face networking kind of like has 3 tiers. And I'm going to go through the 3 tiers, and I'm going to give you some good points and some bad points for all 3. So the first tier in networking face-to-face is your local community networking. And you'll find local community networking happening in football grounds and scout huts and coffee shops. Generally, it's £5 a meeting, maybe. Generally, there's maybe a bacon roll involved. And the local community stuff, it's fantastic for meeting your local community. It's great for being known in your locale. And it's great if you want pro bono work. But the bad point is that those kind of things, most people, the people that are drawn to those kind of things are people with low amount of finance. They don't have money, quite commonly. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. Please accept that. But my experience with first tier networking is it's bad for profit because lots of people want stuff cheap or don't want to pay for it at all. Secondly, it's bad for time management because those people will become leeches, and because they are in the world of where, oh well, I'm in this little group. They want things for free. And then the third thing is, and this is contentious, but I think it's bad for your image. Or it can be bad for your image because quite often we are judged by the company that we keep. And if you are hanging around with, or your peer group is low-hanging, profitless companies that continually are begging and having bad practices, that's how people will judge your company too. Unfortunately, yeah, it's like the playground. But Karl, would you agree with me?
Absolutely, mate.
They say, I think it's that us on a personal level, our bank account will be the average of our 12 closest friends. Would you agree with that, Karl?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I do.
So this is about aligning yourself. Networking, if you're going to commit to it, is about aligning yourself with businesses that you want to align yourself with. So I'm going to go to a second tier networking. We're not talking about MLM, Vic, by the way. That multi-level marketing is something completely different. Multi-level marketing is or pyramid schemes kind of thing, which is about having somebody pay and you receive a part of their pay and that kind of thing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about face-to-face networking. We're talking about taking your business out into the marketplace and interacting with other business owners in a networking environment. So I'm going to talk about second tier networking. Now, somebody on here said a little while ago that they used to run a 4N networking. So there's an organization called 4 Networking or 4N. There we go. Subliminals for you. Now 4N, I call that second tier. It's great if you want to meet lots and lots of people. There is now actually, I believe, 1N, 2N, 3N, and 4N. They're all part of the same organization. But essentially, they operate a platform, a way of meeting lots of people. And an average 4N meeting, and you might correct me on this, but an average 4N meeting will have a foresight, which is a talk from somebody who's considered an expert in something. It will have a round of 60 seconds where everybody gives a pitch of what they do. And then you'll have 3 10-minute one-to-ones or 5-minute one-to-ones with 3 members that's picked at random. And some of them, I think you're actually allowed to pick your one-to-ones. But essentially, you have 3 one-to-ones and you have a foresight and you have a 60 seconds. Now, look, this is great for list building. If you're the kind of company that wants to list build and send email chains and emailing as part of your what you do, this is fantastic because with 4N you get to meet so many people, and they are people that have overcome a barrier to join, i.e. there is a cost element. I think it's about £250 a year plus £5 a meeting. I think that's roughly where it sits at the moment. So people have overcome a barrier to get there, a cost barrier, as it were. And you know that most people then who are there are taking it somewhat seriously. And it's also great because I think now you can do something like 5 networking meetings a day with them. They've really opened up the platform. So if networking is somewhere where you sort of think, the more people that I meet, the more I can do. So particularly for people who are focusing on their online, Skype and that kind of thing, hypnosis, this could be absolutely fantastic for you. And it's great for finding contacts as well, specifically contacts in an area, because 4N is still has not only the national rooms for meetings, but also the local ones as well. But I would say it's not great in terms of time management, because you can just spend your life networking, and the focus of 4N is on meeting people. So if that's your focus on what you want to do, you're going to achieve it. But that's not what we should necessarily be focused on. Subliminals for you, £15 a meeting. Is that £15 a meeting if you're not a member, but £5 a meeting if you are a member? I think that might be the case at the moment.
Yeah, it might be.
we'll see if he comes back with something on that. So here's another thing. What's not so good about 4N? You're spending a lot of time sorting the wheat from the chaff. All right. I've got a good client of mine who does 17 hours networking per week. And you know, he basically spends half his time sort of like saying grading essentially, and sort of like saying that's not so good for me, you know, that's not so good for me, that's not a good link for me, how do I shove them to the side and, you know, focus on the good thing. We don't really want to be spending our life doing that, but let's just say, you know, 4N is something out there and it's worth trying. Now, top tier networking, my opinion, and it's my opinion only, but is BNI. Now, why is it top tier? Well, BNI is probably the most expensive out of the organizations out there. It costs about roughly £850 a year for your first year to join, and then around £600 a year after that to maintain your membership. There's also a monthly fee, which is generally about £50 a month, which pays for your venue, so i.e. breakfast or that kind of thing. So over the course of the year, it can, you know, rack up to about 1,500 quid. It's not cheap. But BNI is not, although it's called Business Networking International, it's actually a group that's based around the concept of bringing referrals and supporting one another. So their fundamental phrase is givers gain. And you commit to the group, you commit to helping one another in a group, and you commit to generating contacts, and you commit to generating referrals for one another. And so then it becomes good. And in return, they give you training. They give you good training for your business. And especially lately, they've been doing lots of international stuff, hiring in great speakers for training. They're going to give you a great return on investment because the whole organization is based around finding referrals and creating opportunities for each other. And they give you a great power community. If you're the type of person that appreciates being gatekeeper or appreciates being that person who can sort out things for people, BNI is fantastic. You've got a great international database on your phone of people who all are committed to helping you out. Now, BNI, I've already saw in the comments there, lots of people sort of like said, "Oh, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me." Let me tell you, if you're a shaper and you're committed to being a shaper, BNI is going to be a challenge for you. Now, I am a shaper. If we're going by the Belbin team roles, I am a shaper, and you know, and I had to sort of like button my lip and say to myself, "It's not my game, and it's not my ball." That's, you know, and so it's like going to the park. And you if you want to play with the boys in the park, you're playing their game with their ball. And if you don't like it, go elsewhere, because they've been doing it this way for 36 years, and they've been doing it profitably for 36 years, and they're not changing anytime soon. However, that's what makes it really easy, because somebody's written the rules of the game. And so you can easily go along, learn what they do, learn the style of doing it, and say, right, I'm going to apply my business into this organization. I'm going to start, you know, generating referrals in this way. I'm going to do their training and that kind of thing. Really easy to do, really not that much money. If you've been starting to spend money on advertising, you realize that return on investment is key. Now, being open and honest with you, okay, I joined BNI. It was my, you know, the first 3 months, I didn't get anything out of it. But that first year, after spending my 800 quid to join, 900 quid to join, whatever it is, I took £20,000 profit out of it. And I was like, well, I'm never going to give that up, because, you know, the return on investment simply is, you know, it's out of this world. And so now, to answer your question, like that Karl said at the beginning, for my business, why don't I have a website? Well, look, it's really simple. I've been doing this 15 years, so I already have a batch of clients. But if you sit down and you work out what your business needs, okay, my business needs 10 new clients a year, and I need 10 new clients a year who are going to spend £2,000 to £3,000 with me. So what's the best way of me getting that, you know, to come to me? Is it by making a website and, you know, putting that out there for 7 billion people to see and chancing what comes in? Or is it by being part of a community of business owners who will listen to what I say and go out and try and find that for me? Well, I've found that works for me. I go out there and I say, this is what I need at the moment. For example, I will be saying, In the next few weeks, I'll be saying I'm looking for retailers who are planning their Christmas, and people will go out there. They'll contact their retailer friends, and they'll say, "My graphic designer is looking for people who are thinking about their Christmas sales. Are you planning your Christmas sale? Can I hook you up with him?" And that's how it works. And they do that for me every week. And likewise, we'll go through. And so, for example, when it comes to spring, I will be then sort of like saying, I'm looking for people who are going to be doing trade shows over the summer, because I've done trade shows all around the world. And I'll maybe show them some of the work that I've done with trade shows. And they will then send that on to their contacts and say, this guy does trade shows. So you're doing a trade show this year? And that's how it works. So that's why I don't have a website, because for me, this is easy. It's just so easy. Lee, do I adapt the presentations to my audience? I know who the audience is. I adapt the presentations to what I'm looking for, not to what the audience does, because BNI works on the principle where you're not selling to people in the room. BNI works well for me, but you have to find a group that suits you. Well, that's true, Alison. There are groups with different dynamics, and if one group hasn't worked for you before, it's definitely worth finding another one to try.
Dynamics is a very interesting word. Anyway.
So going back to what Lee said, though, it's a very apt point. Do you adapt your presentations to the audience? Well, I know that my audience is these group of business people, but BNI works on the basis that we commit to helping one another find the work that we want. So I don't think of them as my customers. I think of them as my sales force. So if I have my weekly meeting with my sales force who are going to try and generate a lead with me, I'm not interested in who they are. I'm interested in who their contacts are. So I'm saying to them, right, so what we're in June at the moment, and so, for example, it's a bit late now, but I could be sort of like saying I'm looking for people in, for example, bicycle shops who are going to do a back to school campaign, because I've got lots of lots of stuff that I've done for bicycle shops before. I know that they'll all be doing a back to school campaign, which will include a helmet, a bike, and some reflectors. So how can I help them reach that and make that better? So I adapt my presentations to the time of year, and I count for. I'm counting on my BNI troop to go out there and to, if they come across somebody, or if they find a chance where they can generate something for me, they will remember the kind of thing that I've produced. So that's a good question, Lee.
What I was going to say is it's quite interesting, actually, because I've been at a BNI, I don't know, a couple of years now. And let me just come back to that, is that everyone on this channel knows that I travel the world teaching what I'm doing. So to be brutally honest, it didn't really fit in with the model I needed at that moment in time. It really didn't. And to be quite honest, last year I could have committed, but the problem is you just can't commit for 1 year. And the thing is that for me, I had to leave because there are rules and regulations in place. And like it was explained to me by Tim as well, by the head honcho for our local area around here, Tim Gale, that was the name I was thinking of then. And basically he could see the situation I got myself into is that you have to commit. And I did see somebody put on there a minute ago, it was about getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning. And, there is that as well. When you've got clients at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're having to get up at 6, it does get a little bit of a pain in the bottom as well. But I will say now, even with BNI this week, Jason said something to me that then triggered a response in me to say, Jason, can you get that person to contact me? That person then went away and said, they contacted me. And then the next minute we went, well, that's not the right thing that I need it for. But they went, but I know somebody who does do that. And they put me in contact with a solicitor that does the work that I need to do, that I need to have done. And that was really interesting. So I've started working with that solicitor now. And But BNI, that networking of that knock-on effect is quite powerful. And it's always, not what you know, it's who you know, really, sometimes. So, but that's it. Let me just bring this question up because that would help as well. But yeah, for me, it didn't fit my lifestyle. That was the only thing it didn't fit. That's why I had to leave, and you have to do that.
Okay. And look, at the time you were going to and from Vegas and that kind of thing. You were also sort of like coming to terms with having Karl Smith Hypnotherapy plus the Hypnosis Academy and that kind of thing. And so it's important for us all to remember that what Karl is promoting, of course, is Karl is promoting the UK Hypnosis Academy, and you're not promoting an academy. You end users, you're promoting your own practice in whatever that happens to be. You are promoting a practice. So what does your practice look like? So going back to Wendy's question there, you want to bring that back up. I understand how this works for your business, but how would this work for a hypnotherapy business unless the companies would be sending clients your way? Well, so Wendy, BNI works on the basis of generating referrals. Okay, so if I was generating, I would firstly be listening to what kind of clients you wanted. Now, you might say to me, for example, or you might say to a group of people, well, what I'm looking to be hooked up with solicitors or firms with more than 50 people, because I'd like to be a mental health first aider on hand once a week in their in their cafe, right? So I'm looking for corporate link ups like that, so that you can then get in there. That's a great one, by the way, that you should all be trying to get into, really, to try and be an on-site first aider for large companies. But secondary, you might sort of say, right, I'm looking for clients that, for example, they're not looking forward to going on holiday because they've got a fear of flying. You might run that one for a little while. But essentially, you tell the group, who it is that you're looking for. You're telling them who your customers are and telling them how you're going to help them. And so they're not going to sell this stuff for you, but essentially they're looking out for people to sort of like say, right, well, I can hook you up with blah, blah, blah. I can hook you up with this firm of solicitors because they do need to take care of their staff's mental health well-being. Or like you'll say, Karl, in actual fact, we were just talking about reminiscing just the other day that, one of the things that we have in common was a person who was in our group. He's a very high up insurer for a big insurer, but his friend had basically had a mental health breakdown. And he was so desperate for his friend that because Karl had demonstrated in the group what an expert he was in hypnotherapy, I think that the guy Daniel just literally just gave Karl some money and said, sort my friend out.
Let me just give you from the perspective from a hypnotist doing this as well. That's why Jason's on here. Jason's explained it very well there, is that little things like I would sit there and say, I had confusion, I had conflict because I had this and I also have Karl from Hypnotherapy, which would have technically been my local branding because there's not a lot I need for hypnosis in Ipswich. Well, there again is. Anyway, but the thing is that I would go in there and I was still confused on what I need to do with BNI. Maybe if I'd have been given a little bit more or knew at the beginning roughly what BNI was, I'd have known, if that makes sense. So I made mistakes. But the thing is that when I stood up and I said that I can get rid of fears, phobias, anxiety, stress and strain, and I can get rid of those in one or two sessions, and I can help. If I'm looking for people that blah, 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 that have got stress and strain in their life. And if you know, please put them in contact with me. My name's Karl Smith from Karl Smith Hypnotherapy. And you do that every week. You do your little 30-second going around. That was from memory, by the way. But the thing is, you do that, then you do that, and then what happens is that the first few weeks are fairly slow. But then, like Jason just mentioned, then is that we're in a profession, right? I'm telling you now, right, where there is everybody out there, there is some form of mental health issue that you can deal with. There's not everybody that wants Jason's posters. Not everyone wants Jason's wedding photography, but there is everybody out there is some form of mental health issue, whether it be in very extreme or all right and a little bit of shit going on. Like I've said, even the Dalai Lama has a bad day. He must turn up some days and his noodles are cold and he gets pissed off with somebody. But even still, we are in an environment, we're in a profession where everybody needs us. That's not common, right? So the thing is that if you go in there and start telling people you can do this and do your little demonstrations, like I've said about the Peppa Pig and all that type of stuff, that's what happens then. Is that you get this knock-on effect, is that people go, I've got a hypnotherapist at my place. Oh, I've been looking for that. And that's exactly how that started to tumble. And I'll be brutally honest, even though I've left BNI, there are people that I knew in BNI that still send people to me, even though I'm not in BNI, because they go, I could send you to that person, but they're proper shit, and I'll send him over there to Karl. And that's what happens. So what you do is is that you stand up, do your piece, and let's say there's a plumber and an electrician next to you. So what happens is that you sit down, the plumber stands up, and they say, I do all this, blah, blah, blah. And then they sit down, the electrician pipes up. Then you sit there and go, then you're in the pub drinking away. And I think I'm now about to answer Steve's question, and you may eloquently do this better for me in a moment, Jason. But the point is I could be sitting in a pub and somebody goes, oh, I'm looking to get a PIR light because we had somebody tried breaking into my house. Hang on a minute, I know a Sparky. So then I phone the Sparky up. Hey, I've got a job for you here. Can you go? Not. I've got a Sparky. You give them the card, or what you do is you pass the referral on that way. Same as the plumber. You know, I need a new outside tap. Hang on a minute, I've got a plumber. So you get them work. They get them. Then you get that reciprocal energy coming back towards you, and that's how it works. So you know, every day we will know somebody who may want a garden fence put up, whose radiators are knackered, or they need an outside socket, or whatever. You know, there are some guys there as well selling websites and stuff like that. You know, I only pass. There's
all like literally there's all sorts. And Steve, I think it's a great question because you know, of course, you don't want to be. If you're, I would guess, if you're in the midst of something complicated with somebody, it's not a good time to try and get a referral. But it's something that I encourage my wife. She knows what I do. And in fact, now she's actually a member of BNI, a different group promoting her wedding business. But before that, I would sort of like say, she'd go and she'd text her NCT mums, and sort of say, oh my, if I was struggling to find a referral or something like that, she might text her NCT mums and sort of say, oh yeah, my husband's part of a business group. Does if anybody needs anything, do let us know. And we act as that gatekeeper kind of thing. Same with people that I know through church activities or whatever like that. It's not a bad thing. And I do this with all my clients as well. Once a quarter, I'll send an email out to my clients saying, by the way, just let you know, I'm part of a big network of local businesses. We're all committed to helping each other. Is there anything that you need in terms of a service from a business, such as a solicitor or a HR expert or an advertising person or an accountant or whatever like that? And I start to, so it becomes very easy. Finding referrals is actually very easy. And BNI gives you great training as well in doing that. Now, Simon's asked a question. How do I... Hang on a minute. Oh, dear. I don't know how to operate this. Where's
Simon? What's the question? What was the question? Do
I press the S button? Is that what I do?
No, just click. Just go to where it is. It should say show.
It doesn't. But anyway, he says, how would BNI help the therapy industry? Oh, here we go. As we are selling a concept, not a product. Well, look, here's the thing, Simon. You already know a bit about your potential audience. Who are your customers? And what you're literally doing when you go to a networking meeting is you're trying to find more of those people, or you're trying to equip those people who are there to point more of your customers towards you. Does that answer your question well enough? I hope it does, because essentially this really comes onto what is the strategy for your business to bring in the people that you need for your company to help you to survive for the year. So, for example, my business is very different. I've told you, been very open and honest with you, I need 10 new clients a year for my business, which is why I'm happy to pay my £600 for BNI. That generates that for me. That keeps my business more than happy, and I'm net in profit every year of clients and money. Karl, for example, is looking for people who want to get diplomas and want to join the academy for this reason or that. Now, and I'm talking to you individually, but I mean, like, let's say, for example, Simon from Dartington, you know that you're looking for a certain amount of people per year. And if you don't know how many people, it's worthwhile knowing how many people you need. So how many customers do you need per year? What rate should they be paying you? So i.e., what's the average spend per customer? And then you sort of say, well, perhaps I've got an online series and I've got my in-person, sort of like services and that kind of thing. Essentially, rather than going out there with the scattergun, which is how we all start out there going hunting with a scattergun, then we start to hunt with a rifle. All right, trying to pick off one customer at a time. BNI really is what helps you to farm your customers, how to plant your seeds and how to nourish them into a field of good customers. And so I would encourage all of you really to sort of like think, okay, well, these are my streams of income, however they may be. So for example, let's say stream of income 1 would be, one-to-ones, with people. Stream of income 2 would be courses that you sell. Stream of income 3 would be online, stuff, for example. Well, how much do you need to earn from each of those? So how many clients and how does that break down into people? Because I was quite shocked when I sort of like realized that I just need 10 new clients a year to make my business work and thrive, by the way, and thrive. That because of the nature of my business. If for your business you need to have 10 new clients a week, well, that's great, because you've got to start somewhere. And I would say foundationally, all right, for all of you who want to really make a success out of your business, some form of networking is going to be a foundational great asset to your business. It's only something that can be built on and got better from. But my advice is go in at the Premier League option, where people are committed to helping you and bringing you work, rather than going in at a lower tier where people are committed to taking up your time. That's what they're committing to. What are people committing to? Taking your time or giving you money? Well, you're going to go for the ones that want to give you money.
How many times can somebody go to BNI or any other network event free at the first time? Was it twice?
Yeah, twice for BNI. I don't know about other ones. I mean, I know that with 4N now, you can, I think as the guy mentioned earlier on, you can literally just spend £15 a meeting and just go to all of them. Likewise with the local community ones, most of them, there's no limit. You can just go. There's no commitment to stay. BNI is, like you said earlier on, Karl, I probably haven't given it as much, shone the light on it as much as I should do. But here are the bad points of BNI. Yes, you need to be represented as much as you can, or every week if you can. So if you're going on holiday, they're going to ask you to find a substitute. Yes, there's lots of training, and you might not feel as if you want to do it, but there's lots of training. It's worthwhile training, and then they want you to do it. Yes, they're going to expect you to try and start generating referrals, but they're going to show you how to do that. And like Karl and I have already demonstrated, it's really easy. And finally, they're going to interview you and vet you beforehand, because they do that with every business that goes in there, to make sure that every business is a good business, so that you can refer to them with trust, and they can refer to you with trust. They don't want people in there that have been bankrupt and all that kind of stuff. They want good quality businesses. They take vetting quite seriously. And as such, it's not a case of, well, I can't make a Thursday morning because for all of us that are there making this serious, and i.e. we're making serious bank out of it, it's the first thing in our diary every week. So there's no excuse why I'm going to miss it. There's been nothing that I've had in the last 2 years, apart from being in hospital with COVID for a month, that has stopped me from being at a BNI meeting. And I run, like I say, 2 successful businesses. I'm just starting a 3rd. I've got a young family. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I
still think being in hospital with COVID isn't a fair enough excuse, Joe.
I know. Well, the incubator made up, it didn't, it interfered with the video.
Yeah. Guys, just a quick one just to have a quick pause there. Don't forget, thanks very much, Christina, for becoming a member. Don't forget, this is a membership site, and if you'd like to donate to the site, make sure you go onto your laptop or your desktop PC. Go and look at YouTube again and look at the UK Hypnosis Academy. You'll see join button. There's $4.99, $8.99, and a $90. What I am offering for the $90 is mentoring with me. And like I've spoken to some of you already, and some of the advice I've given already has helped you change your business, which is the great thing about it. But that's $90 a month. You can be mentored by me for as long as you bloody well want. For the $8.99, you get extra videos, and for $4.99, you just get a smack on the back of there. Thank you very much for supporting me and guiding me and helping me. So thanks very much. Christina's just done it. If you want to become a member, all you got to do is go back into YouTube on your laptop or on your desktop PC and just join one of the tiers. And if you want to have some mentoring with me 1 month, then please do. So thanks very much, Christina, and everybody else who subscribes. So yeah, what's happening here? What do we got going on here? You still have. I have a friend who was in 4N. She was hypnotherapist, did really, really well. Oh, thank you, Christine. I thought you were. I thought you may have bailed on me, but you think it's so worth it. That's fine. Thank you. Right. I don't know what Lance is now going to say. Okay. Oh, we're both on. Is that long? Not a fan of being on myself. So let me read that out for those people that aren't. Not a fan of being I myself. That's fine. Good evening, Lance. Hope you're well. Because you have to commit, create, and referrals for the other petite you have to breakfast with. There does come pressure to provide referrals, which is time consuming as diversion of your own goals. I've been into a few meetings and also have had early breakfast meetings every week. It's not for me, but I'm trying to think. And from my perspective, and when I first started off, I think the biggest pressure I got from BNI, and I got good things out of BNI, by the way, otherwise I wouldn't have Jason on here, is that I was finding pressure because I was getting gigs in Los Angeles. And that was my biggest pressure. So I couldn't commit. Mine was a complete different business to other people. Mine was more committed to being, my first year I was like, no, I'm in Las Vegas for the next 3 weeks. No, I've got to go to LA for the next 2 weeks. That was my biggest problem. So, for me, that was the only issue I had with BNI. Getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning was it was like being back in the police for me. I was like, I left the police for this shit. But on the same token, I will say I did earn money from it. I still earn money from BNI. Jason still gets business from me. Jason, by the way, this is who did this. Jason did all this. And I know Subliminal Simon's doing that. But it's not for everybody and it's not for every business. No, but on the same token, if you do commit and you do it and then it's fine, that's fine. And it just, and I'll be Lance, I'm just going to say it didn't fit with me. It didn't go with me at that time. And I still don't think it will to this day because I'm going to be away again. But there was something I just wanted to cover just then. Do you want to just cover this? Colette, I don't feel this would be ethical to refer clients to other businesses in that way. Am I missing something? Yes. Have you ever sat there before and gone, your next door neighbor's gone, I need a plumber? Because that's the referral. You're not doing anything that's to do with hypnotherapy, change work. Your referral has got nothing to do with your client base. It's somebody going, oh, I need a fence panel put up. Oh, hang on a minute. I know somebody who's in our chapter that can put a fence panel up. This has got nothing to do with therapy. But if that fence panel person or that plumber are out and they go, and it happened, and that's what happens, people go out and go, oh, my partner's so stressed, I'm trying to find us some hang on a minute, I know somebody who does mental health. They would refer them to me. So that's the way. Does that answer that question, Colette? You're not referring your clients. You stand there and people know who you are and refer to you. You know who they are. And if somebody wants any of those, you just go, oh, I know that. You do that every day. I would be surprised. In fact, everybody that watches this channel has referred and gone, oh, I know a Sparky. Oh, I know a plumber. Oh, I know a fence panelist. That's what you're doing. But just giving it to the person that's in your chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and also just you do that through your local Facebook group. Exactly. It's really, here's the thing, Colette. When we pass a referral, we are passing a bit of we're passing a bit of our reputation. So it's not just a case of like saying, oh, yes, so-and-so does it. We go that extra mile and say, and we'd so for example, in your Facebook group, here's how we turn it from a lead to a referral. If somebody's on there sort of saying, I need my fuse board changed, we would say, we would go to that person if we know them. We'd sort of say, oh, just to let you know, I do know this person, and here's a little bit about him. Here's his contact details, and go that extra mile to say, I know this person to be a good and reputable person, rather than commonly on a Facebook group, it's just like a list of people, a list of leads that we see in that, and that really doesn't help anybody because that kind of thing, it's just a list of names that the person could go to. So the BNI encourages us to go that extra mile. Lance, you put on there to sort of say, yes, you're finding members and that kind of thing. Well, yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. Nobody's like hanging a dagger over you and sort of like saying, if you don't bring a referral next week, I'm going to stab you. You know, they sort of like say, look, here's the thing. We're all committed to the same thing. We're all committed to try and help grow the group. We're all committed to try and help grow one another's businesses. So if that's the case, it's not fair if Johnny brings, you know, 6 visitors in a year and you haven't made the effort to bring one. Why wouldn't you bring the effort to bring one? It's that kind of thing. And, you know, and actually, you're not asking people to join. You're literally just sort of saying, oh, you're a local business. I'm in a local business group too. Do you want to come for breakfast? Who, you know, it's a really easy invite. It's not going to cost you anything. Do you want to come to breakfast and meet other local businesses? Easy. That's literally all you're asked to do. And I will say, you know, like I said, I'm not giving out my email address. Anyone can have my email address, but if you take note of the spelling of my name, find me on LinkedIn. I'm not getting paid by BNI to be here, by the way. I'm here because Karl has said to me, as somebody who's been in advertising for a long time, 15 years of experience in advertising I've got, and any of you can come to me and you can say, right, what's your experience in flyer ad? And we did this. Karl and I had this conversation just the other day. We're talking about flyers, and Karl said to me, flyers, they don't work. I've tried them before and everything like that. And I said 2 things. There we go. 2 things. I said, these 2 things are going to improve your flyer performance. Do you remember what they were, Karl?
The scientific approach to it, you said.
Yeah.
About
absolutely on the spot.
Wasn't it to do with the timing and a cohort, do them in small batches and test areas and stuff like that?
Okay. Yeah, pretty much. Karl and I were speaking literally about flyers, and like I say, so I've done this before. We've done a flyer rather than say for, you know, Carl Smith hypnosis. We do hypnosis for PTSD, and we do hypnosis for phobias, and we do hypnosis for this, that, and the other, and having a whole big list of things. Instead of doing that, I ran a leaflet campaign that was just a big picture of a fag end, and it said, "You want to stop smoking?" ? Big red letters at the top of the leaflet. Hypnosis is a proven method for helping you stopping smoking. You need to call this number now and book your first session. That's all the leaflet said. On the back, it had a bit more information and a bit more, you know, sort of like trust emphasis on the information, and a picture of the hypnotist, and also referencing the different guilds that they were a part of. But essentially, that was all trust devices. The big part of the flyer was a fag end and saying, book your first session now to stop smoking. Now, that's the first thing. You don't want to tell everybody the different things that you do, because every advertising message is like a cricket ball. And if I throw 9 cricket balls at you, you're not going to catch them. But if I throw 1 at you, you will. So we chuck 1 message out there. And then what we do is we say, rather than, you know, if you've got 15,000 flyers printed, all right, and you carpet bomb your local area with 15,000, you're going to get nil response. But if you break that down into 5,000 chimney pots, advertised 3 times over 6 weeks, so i.e. the same houses get the same leaflet 3 times over 6 weeks, you'll find you'll get a response. This is what I do with estate agents all day, every day. We break down 1 simple message. You know, for example, an estate agent, you know, we're selling houses for 0.5% in this area. Houses are selling, and then we'll do 6 weeks. So as I say, 1 every other week for 6 weeks, and I'll guarantee I'll drive through that area and it'll be full of for sale signs for that company that I'd worked for. That's how flyering works. Don't have too many messages. 1 simple message, 1 simple scientific method of getting it out there, and people will respond to it. So when we're talking about advertising, we're talking about marketing strategies and that kind of thing. Karl said to me, why don't you talk a bit about networking, because it's the only advertising that you do for my business, my own personal business. And yeah, no brainer. That's why I'm here, because I'm telling you that in my first year, I turned that £1,000 investment into £20,000 of cold hard cash. I'm not going to tell you what I get out of it now, but let's just say it's profitable enough for me to still be there.
Brilliant. Happy days. Guys, so yeah, so we've mentioned a couple of them. Colette, because you're down in New Zealand, it may be worthwhile you looking at BNI would be in New Zealand. I know that because I was teaching, I told Jason about this the other day. I was teaching at Tullamarine in Melbourne about 3 years ago now, and I'm sat there in a hotel, and I could see somebody come out, and they had somebody with them with a clipboard, and they were sitting there chatting away, and I heard something, and I went, excuse me, guys, you're talking about BNI, and I introduced myself, and I don't literally just left BNI, but I just introduced myself and spoke about it in that, and the chapter invited me along, but because I wasn't a member anymore, they kicked me out. But on the same token, well, they didn't kick me out, they just said no, not today, thanks. But on the same token, yeah, you should have something all over the world for you to do that. Yeah, cool. But you will have other things.
If you go to bni.co.nz, there are, oh gosh, there's loads. There's at least 20 BNI groups in New Zealand.
There you go. So yeah, so guys, you got any more questions? Don't forget. Let me just do that. Jason, by the way, we're gonna. Oh, squeaky chair. I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have that. We have squeaky chair every day. I don't bother roiling it because it just adds to the fun. Guys, at the end of the day, I'm going to get Jason on to talk about brands and stuff and about Hogwarts here in the background because Jason doesn't like Hogwarts. So the thing is that we're going to get Jason on to talk about some of the products he does. Like I said, I'm not on here. I'm not part of BNI. I thought it'd be something different to throw out there for you guys to go have a look at. If you're interested in learning more about it, or you want to learn more about branding, you want to learn about marketing, I know Simon's Dartington Hypnosis has already been working with Jason already. But you know, if you want these banners and stuff like that for your gigs, I'm not getting anything out of this, right? Whatever your business you've got with Jason, that's up to you. Nothing to do with me. I'd probably get a coffee out of it, and I don't drink coffee anymore, which is about the limit of where we are with that. But on the same token, there's that, you see. So yeah, so if you've got any questions, go find Jason on LinkedIn and go meet up with him that way. You know, at the end of the day, if you need any advice, he's there on the phone. I can see how flyers work for an estate agent, kitchen fitters. I live in a built-up area, but I've never had a flyer for a hypnotist through my door. The argument cuts both ways, I guess.
It's worth a go, right? I mean, like, flyers are incredibly cheap. If you're time rich, flyers are incredibly cheap. You know, if I just said to a guy local to me, he's an independent travel agent. He's like, how can I promote my business, but you know, like I've got no money. I was like, okay, flyers are cheap. You've got a new set of boots. You know, get out there and start delivering. And actually, if you brand yourself up whilst you're going out there delivering, you'd be shocked at how many times people stop you. And actually, if people say to you, why are you doing this? And you say, well, I've got a small business and times are tough. And so I'm going out there doing myself. But, you know, as a small business, we do these really great services and I'm into X, Y, Z. Goodness me, people love you because you're the underdog who's going out there, who's trying to lift themselves up. That's a British cultural icon. And you know, and I can tell you, from dozens and dozens of anecdotal stories that really, really works, really builds things up. Would you put flyers in GP surgeries if they let you? For sure.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I do.
I give all of my new clients extra business cards to pass on. Yeah, brilliant. Of course not. Why wouldn't you? That's what I was thinking. I walk 5 miles a day. Steve, if you wanted, say 15,000 postcards, that's probably going to cost you less than 300 quid. Hit me up on LinkedIn if you want. That's going to be designed and printed and delivered to your door. You know, color postcards. Postcards are brilliant, by the way. If you want a size of flyer that works really well, postcards is that A6 size. Brilliant. It's bigger than a business card, but it's smaller than an A5 leaflet. It fits in a drawer. It fits in a handbag. It fits everywhere you want. And people hold on to them if you make it on a nice card. What do you mean brand yourself up? What do I mean brand myself up? Literally, get a gilet made or a high vis made or something, you know, some kind of. Now, Simon and I from Dartington were talking about when you should and shouldn't be branded and that kind of thing. And I certainly think there are times to be branded and times not to be branded. But you go out there with a polo shirt on with Hypnotist. I know that a lot of you have got those, so use those to go out with. Use your gilet, use the high vis jackets, whatever they happen to be, but something that might represent you well and also identifies you as somebody that is the business owner. That's why. People, for example, if when they're estate agents and whatever like that, that's why they brand their cars up and everything like that. They go out, they'll park their car in a prominent place in an estate whilst they go and do 50 houses. There's a reason why they do that. There's a reason why estate agent cars are branded, and also their boards are branded and everything like that. You never go to an estate agent website. You know that? You never go to an estate agent website. We all use Rightmove. And yet outside all of these places, you've got their branding. Well, it's very, very simple. It's because the only time that you need their branding is when you come to sell rather than when you come to buy. Okay. And that is all about the touch points, our psychological touch points of who are we going to go with? We're going to go with the people that we trust the most and get the results. That's why we have the branded cars every night, because the more touch points we have with a company, especially in our local area, the more likely we are to do deals with them. What was it? I'm getting inquiries. I was getting inquiries from the post because I put up my plumbing business 5 years after I sold it. Exactly. Yeah.
There you go. So, guys, there we go. Free press. Yeah, do all that type of stuff. That's all good stuff, Eddie. But like that. So, right. So while I just give Jason 30 seconds to talk about it. Okay. Max, you're absolutely right. The picture is a lot more crisper tonight. The sound should be a lot better. I had a bit of a blip. The rather expensive bit of kit that I bought the other day, this monkey the other day didn't set it up properly. So after we finished last night, about 30 seconds after we finished last night, I spent the next 2.5, nearly 3 hours on a Zoom call with a really lovely fellow who might well be watching this tonight to see how it's gone, to refine my bits of kit. And what we did find out is that I was running at 25 frames per second and not 50 frames per second. And also, Klutzboy here had stuck the wrong cable in the wrong hole, which is a story of my life. Anyway, the thing we're rocking and rolling. So I've actually got him as a mentor. So when people talk about mentoring and stuff like that, I still have mentors. I have mentors all the time, by the way, and I have mentors that are in different areas, specialists for their areas. So when people say to me, do you still get mentoring? Yes, I do. I have people that do 7 figures plus that mentor me. And I've also got people that don't earn as much as me, but know far, far more about this than anything else. So, yeah. So next week, I'm all geared ready for next week, really. At the end of the day, it's ready for next week's streaming. So that's what we're doing. So, guys, I'm going to knock on the head tonight. It's tomorrow's with me. I've got a surprise for you, actually. I've got to mention. On Thursday, we have got havening. So those people that are interested in havening, we've got Mr. Stevie Travers, who is probably one of the best in Europe, my personal opinion, trainers, coming on to talk about havening. That might be something you want to watch, Jason. But on the same token, we've got havening on Thursday. So he's going to take us through step by step Stephen Ron Rudin's concept around about havening. If you don't know what havening is, tune in on Thursday for that. Tomorrow's with me, and then Friday's Q&A. And what I am going to say is that I'm going to be selfish here.
Karl,
next week.
Just give me 1 second. Karl, if I send you an image, Karl, can you put it up on screen?
I think so. You can share it as well, mate.
I'm on a different computer.
All right. So just to let you know, next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm going live every night. And those people that are in here are going to be in it, because next week I'm delivering the UK Hypnosis Academy diploma. Woohoo! I lost. Meet people this year. Woohoo! Go on the piss. Anyway, no, it's not going on the piss. It's going to be talking about professional hypnotherapy services and then going out and drink. Anyway, but the thing is every night what we're going to be doing is I will be going live with one of the students, and they're all shitting themselves now, because I will be going live with this kit in Norwich, live every night to do that. We probably won't go for an hour. We'll probably go for half an hour, 45 minutes next week, because I will have had long days, and I can probably cram a lot more in that. But on the same token, they will be live lessons, live sessions and stuff like that. So we'll leave it there. Guys, if you've got any questions, please take note of Jason's details below there. Jason, and then Distinct Vision and on LinkedIn. I hope you got something from it. I did see something about Free for Thought, and I did see Stevie Barkis put something up about Simon, you just need to book your mentoring session with me. For those people, don't forget, if you want to do some mentoring with me, just join the $90. And if you only want it for a month, do it for a month and bugger off. All right, and then do that. Right. So thanks very much, Steve. I can't find your comment, but even still, thanks very much.
Just check your messenger, Karl. Just see if you can get that image up on screen. Just whilst you're doing that. So look, as I say, my business is in advertising and in marketing, and so I actively welcome any of you to contact me. And we'll go through different options that might suit you and your business, because at the end of the day, not everything will work for everybody. But one of the things that you will appreciate when you come to me is that I can give you some indication of what might work. Because I've been there and I've seen it and I've done it, as opposed to a lot of other people who just want to, especially when it comes to marketing, they want to make you busy. It's not about making you busy doing crap. I want to make you busy with clients. So the stuff that we've talked about tonight, that's been my experience, and I think that counts for something. And in terms of coming to make products for you, help you come up with a strategy to help you promote your business, I'm really happy to do that. I'm really happy to work with you. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and send me a message, and hopefully. I literally just found that flyer that I made, the stop smoking flyer that we had good stuff with. I'm just seeing if Karl can get it up on screen for you now, and perhaps you might that might encourage you to sort of think, oh, you know what, I've got some new boots. Maybe I'll do a leaflet campaign or something like that. It might encourage you to do something that you haven't tried before. And leaflets, like I say, are a very cheap way of doing that. How you getting on, Karl?
It won't let me show that JPEG. So what I will do, guys, is I will put it. I'll tell you what I will do is when I finish this, I will put it on. I'll flip cameras. I will put it on the community YouTube group. You'll be able to see it. It says "Stub it out permanently, cigarettes," and then you can go from there. All right. So I will do. I can't share. I can share videos, but I can't share JPEG for some strange reason. It's too small. So, guys, thanks very much. Thanks very much for your time tonight. Thank you very much. Don't forget, go to Jason if you want to see anything. Like I said, I don't get toffee out of this, guys. He does all my stuff. If you want to go to him, go to him. We'll get Jason on again to do some stuff about branding. For those people that have done the diploma or in the diploma group, you've already met Jason before. You can get him via Facebook. He's got that as well. He did the lesson on branding in there for us. So, guys and girls, I'm going to love you and leave you tonight. For those who don't know, Ukraine are 1-0 up. For anyone who's in America, you wouldn't have a bloody clue what that means. It doesn't really matter, but that means a lot to us English peoples. Anyway, guys and girls, thanks very much, Jason, for your time tonight. Thank you very much. Don't forget, Jason's details are below. Contact him if you need anything. I will see you at 7:30 tomorrow. That's with me. And then Thursday, we've got Stevie Travers with Havening. Friday, Q&A with me. All next week, live with me on the course. People that are on the diploma with me watching me now, start shooting yourself. Guys, get out there and go practice. When you finish practicing, go practice some more. Take care, folks. See you 7:30 tomorrow. Thanks very much, Jason.
Bye.